Hello and welcome. I'm Cecilia. I'm actually the president of an import company for Italian gourmet food. And I have the pleasure of being here today. We are at the River Moon restaurant in Forked River, New Jersey. No, I'm not a chef, but what I'm here to do instead is to show everyone that you don't have to be a chef just in order to do a fabulous meal, something sophisticated that you might have eaten in a restaurant and thought you could never ever do. It's not that hard, let me tell you. Today we're going to start off with a couple of hors d'oeuvres, two of my actual favorites, and it's for you fish or seafood lovers. We will do a truffle tuna tartare and also a salmon tartare. Very, very simple things, and you might not have believed it, but it takes only a couple of products. What you start off with, first of all, to do our little tuna tartare. Well, might not always look like this, but you walk into a fish store and you ask for the freshest tuna you could possibly find. Important, especially when you look for tuna, smell it and feel it. It should be firm, it shouldn't have any veins inside of it, and it should smell non-fishy. Once you've chosen your tuna, go home and we start the cooking. It's actually not really cooking, and what I'm going to do, I had prepared little pieces of the tuna. The perfect way of doing a tartare, or at least my tartare, let me see if I have a spoon here, would be you chop up the tuna. I prefer to have quite small pieces because it makes it easier to blend it with the rest of the seasoning. Here we have had pieces finely chopped, and this tuna is amazing. It's very nice and pink, and I am sure that the flavor would be absolutely wonderful. Now, tuna is your base. Now we're going to do it truffled. And truffles, for you who know what a truffle actually is, truffle is a type of mushrooms that grows underground. And in the beginning of history, it was usually hunted by pigs. But the truffle hunters who brought their pigs out had a little bit of a problem. The biggest problem was that the pigs, they like to gulp up the truffles themselves. So now instead we use dogs that are absolutely fabulous hunters of truffles. Considering that truffles can run anything from a few $100s a pound to several $1,000s a pound, it's something that you shouldn't let a pig eat up. I'm going to use today a not fresh truffle, but a fabulous product that actually our company imports and you can find on everyonesitalian.com. This is a truffle sauce. It is made from black summer truffles, has olive oil and a few other natural ingredients in it. We'll take a little bit of this, and a little bit of this would actually not cost you more than just a couple of dollars, so you can afford it. Mix that in and let it sink in very, very well. Next ingredient we're going to use is actually, we're going to take pre-chopped it. These are scallions. Love scallions, they have a fabulous flavor and great color. They're much softer also than any onions you use, and they look beautiful together with the tuna. Now mix it all well in. We're going to also finish up with one of the most important ingredients, the salt. Usually when you have any kind of fresh tuna, like in sushi or so forth, there is no salt incorporated. When you come to sushi, you have a little bit of soy. I use this was the pepper, not the regular salt. I use coarse sea salt, and I use it in a grinder. The reason why I do this is you get a little bit bigger chunks of the salt, and with a very plain tuna flavor, this really enhances everything. So, a little bit of salt onto it should be pretty nice. Mix it in and mix it up. Now, we're actually almost ready with the dish, as simple as it is. But we're going to let it stand because my personal favorite time in how long I would like the flavors to sink in is about an hour before serving it. And while we let this stand, I would prepare what we're going to serve it in. And this is, which I actually have pre-prepared, everyone's personally shaped little crostini made from Parmesan. Simplest thing you could actually do, except for when it comes to the design afterwards. What you start with is one ingredient, Parmesan. Only Parmesan, that's it, and nothing else. Now, as I don't really have an oven here, I won't show you exactly how it's made, but I'm going to explain it. Take Parmesan, you take something you can put into the oven, put out a little bunch of it, approximately I would say about 2 inches in diameter, into the oven. It's going to take you approximately, I'd say, about 45 minutes, depending on how thick you make it. Take it out when it's about this beautiful golden color, and after that, the real trick, how are you going to shape it? In this case, I used an upside down bowl. When you get it out of the oven, it's still warm and you can shape it easily. Just be careful because it's very hot. It's cheese and cheese is hot, not funny for yourself. Fold it over the cup when it's flat, and you will shape it pretty much the way you want to. Now, this is actually the hardest part of all of it. If you can manage that, you can manage to do a fabulous tartare. Now, I'm still going to let this stand and season itself a little bit longer, and after that, before we start serving it, I'm going to taste. That's the most important thing. See, food can't really be seen just as go by the recipe. It has to be felt from inside. You taste it, you add something, you take a little bit away. That's how us non-professionals at least have to do it. If you're not really sure, try it and see what else you could need in there. Now, while we're letting that stand on its side a little bit, we're going to make a non-truffled tartare, and this time we're going to make it with salmon. I also had the luxury of having pre-prepared chopped salmon in here. Now, same thing as for the tuna tartare. All you need, beautiful salmon. Should be very, very fresh because you're not going to cook it. You don't want to be sick. Make sure also that your salmon has been frozen, just so that you're sure there are no salmonella or anything else in it. You have your fabulous fresh salmon chopped up into little pieces. And the salmon requires a little bit more ingredients than what I would have for my tuna truffle tartare. So I'm going to chop up cherry tomatoes. Here we have, right now I'm doing one little tomato, and the reason why I'm using cherry tomatoes mostly is the much sweeter flavor. In order to have the best flavor of a tomato, you can usually smell it. It's hard around here, at least where I'm living right now, and I'm originally from Italy, or actually from Europe, a few different places. There you can walk out and just walk around a tomato field. We're going to smell the aroma when the sun is out, the heat is on, and you can just feel the tomatoes coming at you in such a sweet, wonderful aroma that you just want to eat them the way they are. You don't even need anything, you barely need any olive oil to add to them. Fantastic, fantastic. So if you feel that you have a wonderful tomato, you could even use a normal one. Personally, as I said, I use a lot of the cherry tomatoes for these dishes because they're usually sweeter and have a nicer flavor to them without having to add anything else. You can chop them up a little bit finer than what I'm doing right now, or you can have them in thin slices. It all depends because it comes down to what you want it to look like.